DC Comics was one of the first big names in comic books, and they're still one of the major players. And when I was a kid, I just read comic books. I didn't know any brand loyalty back then, but there were a few titles in DC that I really liked. And there are a lot of DC comic characters that have massive cult followings. So we're going to find some DC Comics weird on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. Now, thanks to superhero movies, I have gone to the movies more in the last 10 years than I did in the 20 years before that. I think Aquaman was my favorite DC Comics movie recently. What superhero movie was your favorite? Put that down in the comments. Keep it DC Comics. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we should all know. DC Comics is one of the largest and most influential comic book publishers in the world. Founded in 1934 as National Allied Publications, it later adopted the name DC Comics in 1937. The DC originally stood for Detective Comics, and one of its flagship titles that introduced the character Batman. DC Comics is known for creating iconic superheroes such as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, many others. It's also home to famous superhero teams like the Justice League and the Teen Titans. Now, over the years, DC Comics has expanded its storytelling across various mediums, including movies, television shows, animated series, and video games. Weird thing number 5, the multiverse. Now, while the multiverse is a core storyline of many of the latest Marvel superhero movies, it was invented by DC Comics. The concept of the multiverse was first introduced in The Flash 123 in 1961 in a story titled Flash of Two Worlds by writer Gardner Fox and his artist Carmine Infantino. This story featured the Silver Age Flash Barry Allen meeting the Golden Age Flash Jay Garrick, establishing the idea of parallel universes coexisting within the DC universe. The original DC multiverse consisted of an infinite number of parallel Earths, each with its own unique story and variations of DC characters. This concept allowed writers to explore different versions of familiar characters and tell stories that diverged from the main continuity. Over the years, DC Comics has periodically streamlined its multiverse through large-scale crossover events such as Crisis events. The most notable of these is Crisis on Infinite Earths, 1985 and 1986, which merged the multiple Earths into a single continuity to simplify DC's publishing line. Subsequent events like Infinite Crisis and Final Crisis further refined and reshaped the multiverse, introducing new concepts and alternate realities. Weird thing number 4, DC Comics and its imprints. DC Comics has several imprints, each with its own distinct focus and target audience. Now, first is the DC Universe. This is the main imprint of DC Comics, encompassing the core superhero titles featuring iconic characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the Justice League. Vertigo. Initially launched in 1993, Vertigo was an imprint focused on mature readers and creator-owned comics. It published groundbreaking and critically acclaimed titles like Sandman. I read Sandman. It was amazing. Preacher, and Why, The Last Man. Now, it was announced DC Comics said that they're going to close the Vertigo imprint, with its titles and concepts being integrated into the other publishing lines. I believe the term I saw on a couple of sites was, Vertigo went woke. And there's a saying in business, go woke, go broke. Happens to many businesses, happened to Vertigo. DC Black Label. Introduced in 2018, DC Black Label publishes standalone, out-of-continuity stories featuring DC's most iconic characters. These stories often explore darker and more mature themes, providing creators with the freedom to tell unique and daring stories. DC Zoom and DC Ink. These imprints are aimed at younger readers, with DC Zoom targeting middle-grade readers and DC Ink focusing on young adult audiences. They offer age-appropriate stories featuring beloved DC characters, providing accessible entry points into the world of comics for new readers. Hill House Comics. Launched in 2019, Hill House Comics is a horror-themed imprint curated by acclaimed author Joe Hill. It publishes original horror comic books and graphic novels, offering chilling and innovative storytelling. Weird thing number 3, Superman. In 1938, Superman was created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster. They sold the rights to Superman to DC Comics for $130. This deal has since become legendary in the comic book industry for its apparent lack of foresight regarding the immense value of the character. Despite numerous legal battles over the years, DC Comics has retained the rights to Superman and continues to publish Superman comics and related media. Now, I looked it up. What is $130 back in 1938 compared to nowadays? It's the equivalency of about $2,150. That is sad. Now, Superman made his first appearance in Action Comics #1, published in 1938. This issue is considered one of the most significant in the history of comics, as it not only introduced the iconic character of Superman, but also marked the beginning of the superhero genre. In the early 1990s, DC Comics shocked readers by killing off Superman in the storyline The Death of Superman. This event garnered widespread media attention, became one of the best-selling comic book storylines of all time. Superman's death was followed by the Reign of Superman arc, where various characters claimed the mantle of Superman. Eventually, Superman was resurrected, marking a significant event in comic book history. Now, the character Superman has evolved significantly since his debut. In his earliest appearances, Superman was portrayed as a heroic figure fighting against social injustice, including corruption and domestic abuse. Over time, his powers expanded, and his stories became more focused on battling supervillains and saving the world, bigger stories. However, the Golden Age Superman's commitment to social justice remains a notable aspect of his character's legacy. Weird thing number 2, Batman. Batman made his first appearance in Detective Comics #27, published by DC Comics in May 1939. Created by artist Bob Kane and writer Bill Finger, Batman quickly became one of the most popular and enduring superheroes in comic book history. Batman is renowned for having the most iconic rogues galleries in comics, in other words, all of his villains. His adversaries, including the Joker, Catwoman, the Penguin, Two-Face, the Riddler, are as famous as the Dark Knight himself. These villains often reflect different aspects of Batman's psyche and provide compelling challenges for him to overcome. Now, The Dark Knight Returns, written by Frank Miller, published in 1986. The Dark Knight Returns is one of the most influential Batman stories of all time. Set in a dystopian future where an aging Bruce Wayne comes out of retirement to fight crime once again. The story redefined the character for a whole new generation and introduced a darker, grittier interpretation of Batman that continues to influence comics, films, and other media. And finally, weird thing number 1, the modern movies. Aquaman, 2018, directed by James Wan and starring Jason Momoa as the titular character. Aquaman is the highest-grossing DC Comics Extended Universe film to date, DCEU. It grossed over $1.1 billion worldwide, making it a massive commercial success. And the film follows Arthur Curry, half-human, half-Atlantean hero, on a quest to claim his rightful place as the King of Atlantis. Now, for years, Aquaman was kind of the butt of the joke. He was like the hero, but he just talked to fish. And I think what Aquaman did, it put him on the map. It made him the major superstar. That allowed him to take his place with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. He's every bit as big as them now. Wonder Woman, 2017, directed by Patty Jenkins and starring Gal Gadot in the title role, and she was amazing. Now, Wonder Woman was both a critical and commercial success. It grossed over $820 million worldwide, making it the second highest grossing DCEU film. This film tells the origin story of Diana Prince, Wonder Woman, exploring her journey from Themyscira to the battlefields of World War I. The biggest movie of the entire Batman franchise is The Dark Knight Rises, 2012, directed by Christopher Nolan. While not technically part of the DC Extended Universe, as it belongs to Nolan's Batman film trilogy, it remains the highest-grossing Batman film to date. The Dark Knight Rises grossed over $1.08 billion worldwide, making it a massive commercial success. The film concludes Nolan's Batman trilogy, following Bruce Wayne's return as Batman to protect Gotham City from the terrorist leader Bane. With its epic tale, intense action sequences, and acclaimed performances, The Dark Knight Rises solidified its place as one of the most successful and influential Batman films of all time. Well, that's it for today's episode. I really hope you liked it. This is a lot like revisiting my childhood. Please like, subscribe, and share that video. Let me know any opinions down in the comments, and if you're still watching, today's code is truth, justice, and the American way. That just seems fitting. Take care. Have a fantastic day.